Hello again, everybody. Barry Hyatt here in Scottsville with Janet Johnson at the University of Kentucky Extension Office. By the way, if you've never been here, fantastic place to visit, don't you think?
Oh, we want you to come and see us.
Exactly.
Definitely come visit us here at the Cooperative Extension Service in beautiful downtown Scottsville.
There you go. Now, of course, this is August, and Janet, there wasn't a lot of rain in some places in July, but apparently we had enough rain to have some corn.
We do, and in selected places where people produce large volumes, such as our own Mennonite communities here in Allen County, you can still purchase some sweet corn. Now, with the rains coming on, what I expect to see are some late crops may be coming on, so look for that. You're going to be able to see throughout Kentucky and Tennessee a lot of sweet corn still on the market.
Right.
So, but even if it's not fresh corn, Barry, even though we're going to do that today, we're going to show you a recipe that you can interchange frozen corn that maybe you put up last year, canned corn, or even if you just purchase at the grocery. This recipe will still be delicious.
Good deal. What are we making today, Janet?
Well, we call it the Summer Sensation Casserole, so that should give you an idea that we're doing something that marries up some delicious summer vegetables, sweet corn being our focus today, but also tomatoes, some green pepper, sweet pepper, and some sweet onions. So there's a lot of variation that you can do with this casserole.
Fantastic.
And we're going to encourage people to think back in their childhood and think about mom's and grandma's fried corn that they did in the skillet. Well, that's a variation of what this is.
Is that kind of a lost art anymore?
A little bit, because a lot of people do not want to cut off corn, but we're going to show you an easy way to do that in just a second.
Sure.
But that's what this casserole is. It is the traditional fried corn that you can cook in the skillet. We're kind of lowering the amount of butter or fat, substituting some great flavor, and that's bacon.
Okay.
Whether you need to consider turkey bacon if you're on a heart healthy diet, that works in the recipe, or just lower the number of slices of good old regular bacon, and it still works. But we're cutting down the amount of fat, but we're going to keep that great flavor.
Sure. Well, that's the best combination right there, probably.
It is, and you can't beat that too. And as we said before, this is going to be a wonderful way to use some fresh sweet corn for a great skillet supper for the evening. And you could even make it a main dish. We have plated up an example of a great country dinner, but you could even use some leftover chopped ham to this casserole, as well as the bacon, and really have a one-dish meal.
It's really versatile, actually.
It is very versatile. That's what we want to show. You know, a lot of times, Barry, people look at corn and they're like, oh, I don't want to fool with that. It's so messy. And it is a messy little vegetable to get shucked and done. But once you're there, this is an easy way that you can actually do it. If you will take a bundt pan or an angel food cake pan and just kind of stand up your ear of corn in the center, that gives you some leverage to cut the kernels off, and it makes it a lot easier.
You can cut a couple slices if you like.
Oh yeah, let's just show you. You just kind of go down and cut your kernels off, and it contains the corn. It also gives you the ability to push down, and it's much easier to cut off the cob.
I was going to say, it doesn't make as much of a mess either, does it?
It doesn't. And then you can go back, if you like my mom would do, and she would actually scrape out that wonderful starch. You know, corn is a very starchy vegetable, and you know, we have to watch that, especially if you're on a diabetic diet, not doing too much sweet corn. So moderation is the key here. But if you use about 4 medium ears of corn, very much like that we have on display here today, you will get approximately 2 cups of corn.
Okay.
Now, more or less, depending on the size of the ear, of course, and what you have. So what I've done today is simply fry up the bacon, as you said, and we've kept the drippings in the pan. And
you have green pepper and onions in here, correct?
Yes, and in the baking drippings, we remove the bacon, and as you can see, you're going to kind of finish up here in just a moment. What we did, and I'll get this hot again, we used about 1/3 cup of diced onion. I'll say that, not chopped, again, the smaller pieces. And I like green pepper. I like the sweet pepper. I love the flavor combination. And you just can't beat onions and green pepper. I mean, this vegetable combination just is a wonderful flavoring agent in itself. So we've simply cooked the green pepper and the onion in the baking drippings until they were pretty much tender or transparent. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back and we're going to add the corn. Again, approximately 4 ears of corn that we've cut the kernels off of. And this didn't take any time yesterday, Barry. I actually did this yesterday, put it in the refrigerator, so you could make it ahead if you want.
And it's a lot of corn.
It's a lot of corn, see? And if you wanted to, again, for a smaller household, vary the size of this recipe, just cut it in half, cut it back, and just use a couple of ears like that too. So now we're going to add the corn, and I've even done some tomatoes. Now this is approximately 4 or 5 tomatoes. Again, you can add as many as you want.
Mhm.
You know, the recipe may say 2 cups of tomatoes, and that's
Okay.
about what this is. It may be a little shy. And I've done these a little chunky so that they will not actually cook to death.
Okay.
Yeah. And what I even did, Barry, with the tomato, I cut it in half and just took a spoon and removed the seeds and the juice as much
Okay.
as possible.
Sure.
So if you have a great heirloom tomato that's wonderful for flavor,
Mhm.
you can remove some of those seeds and juice so it doesn't get so soupy.
Right.
And when we look at the casserole in a minute, you'll see why. You want to kind of reduce
Sure.
that.
Okay.
So what we do at this point is that we've added tomatoes and corn and onions and sweet pepper, and we're just going to simply cook this. You know, with TV time, we may have to stop a little bit short, but you cook it about 5 to 10 minutes, just
Okay.
enough for it to get seasoned.
Sure.
Now, we're going to add some seasonings to that, and you know I love seasoned
Oh,
pepper.
you do, yes.
I do love it. It's a great seasoning agent, so we're going to do that, approximately an eighth or more, depending on how peppery you like
like it.
that.
Mhm.
And again, the salt, about an eighth of a teaspoon, just enough to give this corn, a little bit of flavor to bring that out.
Sure.
Now, last month we talked about fresh basil with the tomato pie. And here's another recipe where fresh basil or fresh parsley would be really good. You could add that. I'm just going to sprinkle just a tad of dried basil that I've got on the spice shelf because I don't really want to overwhelm the vegetables.
Right. Well, you can smell that.
You can. A little goes a long way,
sure does.
and a fresh spice will go even further. So just remember that,
Okay.
if you're making those. So again, we're adding these simple seasonings. We're letting the corn go. Many of you can think back to Grandmother's Day when they would melt a stick of butter
Oh,
and
yes.
add the corn. And it's the same concept. And Grandmother probably put a lot of sugar in it too. But these corn varieties today, especially Incredible and some of the other bicolor corn, people commonly say peaches and cream. But there's several varieties. And,
Okay.
and the Incredible variety is extremely sweet. There's, I think, a candy corn. People can think about that. But the sweeter the variety, the more, again, the heat brings out the sugars. So this is a perfect recipe to pair one of those really sweet corns
Sure.
and to use it. So we simply cook this down and kind of heat it through. And again, if you were going to leave this in the skillet, Barry, you'd actually put a lid on this and just let it continue to cook.
Okay.
And you can do that. Now, we're going to save some time today after this heats up, and I'll let you start because you're going to crumble the bacon up.
Okay.
And we're actually
Squeeze
going...
in there?
Uh-huh. We'll
Okay.
just crumble the pieces, and you can see I've started some right there.
Okay. We'll do that.
And we're just going to continue to cook it.
And this adds to the flavor.
Yes, it does. And I've left it kind of chunky. I like to use the thick sliced bacon that gives a little bit of oomph,
Sure.
to it.
And you want the rest in there as well?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, let's put that in there. And this was 3 of the thick slice bacon slices, of course.
Sure.
And like I said, you can use turkey bacon. You can use regular bacon. Again, if you're using regular bacon, you'll want to cut down the amount from 4 slices to 2 to 3
Okay.
because you don't want too much fat. You don't
Right.
want it to be too fatty,
Right.
when we bake it. So we just stir this in and we let the bacon, kind of give it just a second to heat up with that. And so I'll let you stir that
Okay,
and
sure.
I'll get the pan ready. This makes about 1.5 quarts, so it's not a large baking dish. It fits this little
Okay.
dish just fine.
Okay.
So we'll want to grease, or what I do to, again, lower calories, and it's a wonderful way to keep your pans from sticking. We just kind of spray,
Sure.
our baking dishes. And I'll kind of set my corn here, and we can move this over. So after that has had time to heat, and I think you've got that good, then we're
Okay.
simply going to put this in a baking dish.
Okay.
Like I said, you could keep it on the stove, keep it in a skillet, just keep cooking. Because what you want to do is that you want the corn to actually change colors, and that's how Mom and Grandma, used to know it was
Oh,
done.
sure.
But we're going to do a little bit of time saving, and we're going to make this an oven dish, okay?
Okay. Very
Yeah,
good.
very good. And you can see that we want to distribute everything, and I'll move this skillet in just a second. Put that and then turn it off here. Now you can see that we just kind of stir it and distribute our vegetables again, in the pan that we have. Makes a nice size little casserole.
Tell you what, and we'll also show a shot of this here in a couple of moments because I know you guys
Oh,
want to see what
yeah.
this looks like close up. I mean, it's really
Sure,
pretty dish actually.
It's very, very pretty. It's a great potluck dish that you can take. And we're going to sprinkle with a little cheese.
Okay.
Now, again, I'm using a sharp cheese, but I'm using a low-fat cheese because you want just enough cheese to add a little bit of flavor, but not to overpower the vegetables once again.
Right.
So, sharp cheese goes a long way.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little means a lot, I guess.
A
you could
little
say.
means a lot, so
Yeah.
we're just going to sprinkle, and you can do, as much of a third of a cup, etc. But this is just to add just a touch of flavor.
Okay.
And then we're ready to put this in the oven at 350 for
Okay.
approximately 30 minutes. So we're going to get it in the oven, and then we'll come back and show you some great stuff here.
Okay, very good. Yeah, we have a few other things to talk about, don't we?
Oh, we do. And again, this is one of the casseroles that I fixed this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it looks a lot like skillet corn.
Mm-hmm.
It's very tasty. It does not have a lot of added sugar to it because we're playing on the natural sweetness of so many of the varieties of corn today.
Sure,
so you
sure.
don't have to add sugar.
Right, right.
They're really delish. And of course, you can serve it up, Barry. A traditional country meal, as we said, this is a ham steak. You can either grill it or you can even pan fry it. Like
With
we've
green
done,
beans.
with some fresh green beans that we've just microwaved, just steamed, literally.
Right.
And it makes a beautiful, beautiful plate.
It really does. Well, that looks outstanding.
It
I'm
does.
sure it's very good. When did you? How long does it take to make this?
Well, it took me approximately 30 minutes
Okay.
to, again, cut vegetables.
Okay.
And then it'll take you, as you can see, about 10-15 minutes of kind of, prep time
Prep
on the
time,
stove.
okay.
And then if you put it in the oven, about 30 more minutes.
Fantastic.
And that's it.
Well, that's
So
easy. Very
it is.
easy.
You can get everything else ready while you're letting this cook in the oven,
Yeah.
and your meal is ready, and it's pretty quick.
Good deal. Fantastic. Okay. Well, that's going to wrap up, I guess, this month's segment. But
It
of course,
will.
next month, September. Any ideas for September just yet?
Hey, we are getting ready for fall, and we always like to encourage people to really take a look at some great fall vegetables and fruits, by the way. And, we haven't done anything with watermelon, but watermelon is still there, and watermelon goes all through September.
Okay.
So we're going to see.
Maybe.
Probably watermelon or even move toward apples and some of the great fruits of fall.
Fantastic. Okay.
Excellent.
Thanks, Janet. Thanks for helping us out again today. We
Sure.
enjoy working with you, and thank you all for watching so much, and we will see you again next month. So take care, and we'll see you then.